Hello, hi, hello. We back in the same shirt, same spot, same everything with another reaction video.
She said I made her fall in love with me. I introduced her to the game and let her thug with me. See me like Bunny and Clyde, she even clutching me. I feel like it's do or die. She give her soul to me. She wanna be close to me. Oh, she say she fuck with me the long way. She say she gon' run my back. I had a long day.
Okay, so let me tell y'all right now, baby, it's midnight. I'm supposed to be asleep. But I'm not, because my book pre-sales dropped officially today. Well, in 8 minutes, and I'm trying to stay up, so I was like, what better thing to do than record a video? So that's the thing. But anyway, speaking of book, did you get one? Did you get your book? Did you get your shirt? Did you get your merch? Oh, okay. You playing in my face. Did you subscribe? Did you like the video? You did that? You did all that? Okay, cool. Bam. So now we're gonna get right into this video. It's called Good Cop Gets Bad Cop Fired and Arrested. Again, it's coming from the audit page. Shout out to them. Make sure y'all go check them out. Get them some love. But y'all know I love to see an old cop get in trouble. I ain't seen it yet, but I like the title. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure we're recording. Let's go. Verify that we was recording, child.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers use of force, officer obstruction, and official misconduct, and is brought to us by Cameras Everywhere's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit they deserve. On July 26, 2021, Officer David Lance Dukes of the Orangeburg Department of Public Safety responded to a call regarding a man banging on a townhouse door, allegedly with a gun in his waistband. When he arrived on the scene, Officer Dukes immediately drew his gun and ordered 58-year-old disabled man Clarence Gaillard and his cousin Mario Julian, who were standing in the parking lot outside the townhouse, to the ground.
Hey, let me see your hands.
Oh,
get
no,
on the ground.
they're
Get
black.
On the ground. Get on the ground right here.
Please get on the ground. Oh, don't
get
shoot
on the
him.
ground. You, burgundy shirt, get on the ground.
Don't shoot him.
Over here. On the ground.
Black Lives Matter.
On the ground.
Oh, no, not the old
get
man.
Get on the ground. Do you not listen? Get on the ground.
Mr. Gaillard attempts to comply with Officer Dukes' orders by getting onto his hands and knees, but Officer Dukes forcefully uses his foot to attempt to force Mr. Gaillard all the way to the ground, causing his head to violently hit the pavement. In the 1989 case of Graham versus Connor, the Supreme Court explained that the Fourth Amendment requires a police officer's use of force to be quote-unquote reasonable under the circumstances, and identified 3 factors that courts should consider when determining whether an instance of force was reasonable. These factors include, quote, the severity of the crime at issue, whether the suspect poses an immediate threat to the safety of the officers or others, and whether he is actively resisting arrest or attempting to evade arrest by flight.
Most people have no clue that in 2023...
In the 2016 case of Armstrong versus Village of Pinehurst, the Fourth Circuit,
I didn't know
South
this
Carolina,
was all of
held that, quote,
this.
non-compliance with lawful orders justifies some use of force, but the level of justified force varies based on the risks posed by the resistance. Even purely passive resistance can support the use of some force, but the level of force an individual's resistance will support is dependent on the factual circumstances underlying that resistance. In this situation, the severity of the crime at issue was limited at best, although Officer Dukes claimed to believe that Mr. Gaillard had a gun at the beginning of the interaction. However, at the time Officer Dukes used force against Mr. Gaillard, it was clear that he did not pose an immediate threat, as he had raised both of his empty hands above his head before getting on his hands and knees. Finally, Mr. Gaillard was not resisting arrest in any way. In fact, he was attempting to comply with Officer Dukes' commands when the force was employed. Under these circumstances, it is highly likely that a court would conclude that Officer Dukes' use of force against Mr. Gaillard was neither justified nor reasonable.
It definitely was not justified.
By that truck. You're not listening, dude.
Is there a gun? Do you see he's already in handcuffs? Are you gonna find a gun?
Really?
There a gun?
You got a gun on you, man?
No, I ain't got no gun.
Don't you think you'd found a gun by now? It's a motherfucking cell phone holder, bro.
Turn back over. Condo, you watch him say?
Ain't no gun. What? See, somebody probably called that bullshit in and was gonna fuck around and get somebody killed.
No, he was right here.
Talking about a fucking
Watch
gun.
it. Go watch it. There it is.
Is there a gun?
All right, that's what he had.
My God, today. My God. I'm too goddamn sleepy for this bullshit. What the fuck is that? What is... That don't look like no gun. And my gun don't look like that. That don't look like that. My God.
All right, who's the complainant? All right, get him up.
Some gun.
25 cents, got one tank.
Put your leg that way. So
All right, listen, I'm about to help you. Hold on.
Oh, now you
ready?
care.
1,
Fuck
2,
outta here.
3. All right.
Yep.
Listen.
Yep, they slammed my head
Listen.
down on the cement. Yep.
Go back inside. Go back in the house. Go back in the house. Ain't nobody talking to you.
No, it don't matter if you
Go
talking
back
to
in
me.
the
We
house.
need EMS. Call now. Call
Bust
EMS
my
anyway.
head down. Yeah, I've been in an accident. Yep, y'all bust my head down. You threw me down.
I sure did.
and-
You wasn't listening.
Yeah.
He was
No, it ain't.
listening
You ain't
though.
threw me down like that. I'm disability.
Okay.
I got head problem. Yep.
Oh, I feel like he the one who finna get his ass
Yep.
handed to him. and I
Throw me
can't
down. You threw me down.
wait. Ooh.
Yep, you bust my head down on the cement. Yep, you bust my head.
All right, let me tell you what.
his forehead.
You bust my head down on the cement.
He was in front of the car when I came up. And he was walking like this. And I thought it was a gun at first. I said, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. Had him at gunpoint. And he's over here doing something like this.
You slammed my head. You slammed my
What
head
he was doing is
down
putting
on
this up behind the tire. So he comes over right here. He got his hands in his pockets.
You
I told him,
alive?
let me see your hands, let me see your hands, let me see your
Why you
hands.
bust my head then?
He wasn't listening.
No, it ain't.
He got the, like this right here,
You grabbed me.
and we went on to the
and
ground.
you bust my
You
Officer
lying.
Dukes claims that when Mr. Gaillard was walking from behind the white vehicle, he believed that he had a gun and repeatedly told him to
Oh
drop
my
it.
God,
Officer
this
Dukes
man
also
had his
alleges
hands
that
up.
once Mr. Gaillard stepped in front of the vehicle, he had his hands in his pockets and repeatedly ignored requests to show his hands. However, the body cam footage shows that Mr. Gaillard actually had his hands above his head, and that while Officer Dukes repeatedly screamed at Mr. Gaillard to get on the ground, he never asked him to drop a gun or show his hands, likely because Mr. Gaillard's hands were visible throughout the encounter. And
You might think you know Snapchat. but do you
Oh
really?
my
Here's
God,
three-
today. Oh. I hate like nigga, like you're lying, bro.
report filed by Corporal Brandy Smith, who was also on the scene, states that while Mr. Gaillard was walking from the passenger side of the vehicle, he appeared to have his hands in his pockets, but that once he reached the front of the vehicle,
So
he
y'all
took his
both
hands
lying?
out of his pockets. Corporal Smith's report also states that Officer Dukes was giving loud verbal commands for Mr. Gaillard to get on the ground, but makes no mention of a gun or any commands to drop a
Y'all
gun
can't
or
even
show
get
his
y'all
hands.
story straight.
It's also important to note that when Officer Dukes was reporting what happened, he did not explain the method he used to take Mr. Gaillard down. Corporal Smith's report claimed that when Mr. Gaillard did not get completely on the ground, Officer Dukes pushed him to the ground by placing his right foot on the middle of Mr. Gaillard's back. However, the incident report filed by Sergeant Aquel Polador states that Officer Dukes, quote, jumped up and stomped Mr. Gaillard on the back of his neck with his foot.
Yep.
Although it is unclear from the body
He did.
camera footage whether Officer Dukes' foot landed on Mr.
don't
Gaillard's
matter.
neck or upper back, it is certain that the version of events Officer Dukes explained to his commanding officer did not align with the body camera footage.
Ooh,
or
if that
the
was my
reports filed
uncle,
by his
he would have
colleagues.
ripped him a new one.
You bust my forehead.
Yeah, your head did hit the cement.
Right, cause you bust me down on the cement.
Where's the complainant?
You bust my head down on the cement.
Right here?
You bust my head. You bust my head.
Where's the complainant?
You bust my head down.
We're trying to get the name of the complainant.
You
So
bust my head.
What are we doing? I guess Sam was going to check him out.
Ain't nobody
There ain't nothing over here on the press charges on.
Who called?
I'm not sure.
They don't even know who the fuck called the
I mean,
cops.
because that's what we got.
You have to use your force.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Slam my head down.
Dude, I didn't know what his
You
intention
use
was.
the force. You need to upload your camera.
The officer did wrong. Slam my head down. Bust my forehead. Damn right. You gonna pay me for that?
So you're lying. You're lying. Somebody catch him lying already.
Man, I'm gonna take that in the evidence of what he had.
What?
Well, I mean, that's the reasons I did what I did. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm coming from. Because when he was behind the truck, I couldn't see what he was doing. And I didn't know where.
Shit, ain't no point in taking it in the evidence now.
Where
Yeah,
that
y'all
went.
got y'all
It was still in his
fingerprints and shit
pockets when he
all
come
over.
around that car with his hands in his pockets.
These dogs officer.
No, on camera.
Yeah, a dog
Alright, that's
stick.
fine.
A dog stick.
So he can come out of cuffs?
Yes. Take him out of handcuffs.
Yes,
Yeah,
take him out of handcuffs, dumbass. Stupid ass. Go on, upload your camera footage now. Quit bullshit. You know you done lied. You know you finna get fucked in the ass twice. Sorry. Sorry, YouTube. Sorry. That was rough. Blame it on my sleepiness. It's officially 12:03 too, by the way. It's Virgo season, bitch! That's a damn shame. Boy, if that would have been my grandpa, look at that old ass man. Stupid ass.
Hi. Good, how are you? What's going on?
Officer slammed my forehead down in the cement.
Okay.
In the wrong thing.
You consciousness?
Yeah. Listen.
Can I get a card from you?
I don't have one there. We don't have
What's your
they don't give us cards.
Okay, what's your badge number?
1059.
Let me see if I can get my phone. Hold on.
Hold on, we have cards.
That's right, sister. Come on, sister. Come through.
Thank you.
Go to hospital?
When Mr. Julian asks Officer Dukes for a business card, Officer Dukes claims they are not issued cards by their department. However, Sergeant Poldador immediately corrects Officer Dukes, states that they do have cards, and provides Mr. Julian with the information he requested. If it was concluded that Officer Dukes intentionally lied to Mr. Julian in an attempt to avoid accountability for his actions, it is possible that he could be convicted of 2 common law crimes under South Carolina law: obstruction of justice and official misconduct. In the 1997 case of State versus Lyles Gray, a court of appeals in South Carolina upheld convictions for both of these offenses against an officer in the Camden Police Department for her conduct during a
Are they
criminal
gonna actually
investigation.
arrest the
The court
officer?
explained that, quote, under common law obstruction of justice, it is an offense to do any act which prevents, obstructs, impedes, or hinders the administration of justice, and that, quote, misconduct in office occurs when persons in public office fail to properly and faithfully discharge a duty imposed by law. In this situation, the court concluded that the officer obstructed justice and committed misconduct in office by failing to interview witnesses after her daughter was identified as a suspect, obtaining a false arrest warrant for another suspect, and withholding evidence. While Officer Dukes' lie about whether the department issues identification cards did not rise to the same level of misconduct, given the broad definition of both of these offenses, it is still possible that he could be convicted if charged. However, it is important to note that while some states legally require officers to provide ID to citizens upon request, South Carolina law does not place this obligation on officers. Additionally, many police departments have policies requiring that officers identify themselves, but the Orangeburg Department of Public Safety's policy is not publicly available, and it is unclear whether their policy adheres to any form of officer identification guidelines.
Yeah, they required to carry cards. Fuck wrong with you? What police officer ain't got no damn card? Baby, run me that badge number. I'm gonna remember that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Alright. Call me.
Brandon, he can get his stuff off the car.
Will you say badge number?
1059.
After Mr. Gaillard was treated by EMS, he and Mr. Julian were allowed to leave. 2 days after the incident, Officer Dukes was fired from the Orangeburg Department of Public Safety for violating the department's use of force policies, which, as stated before, are not publicly available. On August 25th, 2021, former Officer Dukes was charged with first-degree assault and battery, which could carry a sentence of up to 10 years in prison.
Damn,
As
I
of the
want to
date
see
of
him
this
arrested on
episode,
camera.
Mr. Gaillard is represented by an attorney, but he has not yet taken any legal action against Officer Dukes or the department.
He
Overall,
need to.
former Orangeburg Officer Dukes gets an F
That's
for
right.
physically assaulting Mr. Gaillard for
Look at his
no
racist
apparent
ass.
reason, blatantly
Punk
lying
ass.
about the nature of the interaction in his police
He needs
report,
to be,
and for making a
get them
concerted
charges,
effort to avoid
fired,
being held
arrested,
accountable for
all
his
of that. Go
ridiculous
send him to
antics.
jail,
At
all
no
this so
point
somebody
during
can
this
put their
encounter was
foot on
Mr.
his
Dukes in any
motherfucking
danger,
bike.
and it is clear that his violent actions were
Shit.
motivated by his ego, not officer or civilian safety. There was absolutely
He
no
looked like he
legitimate
got
excuse
ego.
for shoving
Shut
Mr.
the fuck
Gaillard's face into the pavement when it was
Sorry, y'all.
plainly obvious that he was
No, I'm
attempting to
not.
surrender. And this is exactly the type of conduct that has sparked nationwide unrest regarding members of law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Dukes' feeble attempts to explain his actions and manipulate the
That's
facts
exactly
of the
why
encounter
people don't
only
trust
add to
cops,
his
bro.
incredulous and insidious behavior. And his conduct was nothing short of unacceptable. I commend the Orangeburg Department of Public Safety for immediately firing Mr. Dukes and pursuing criminal charges against him.
Exactly.
And if there were a lower grade than an F, he certainly deserves that.
Yep.
Sergeant Polidor gets an A+ for remaining truthful and objective throughout the encounter, ensuring that Mr. Julian
Come
was
on,
given the
sister.
necessary
Power to the
information to
people.
follow up on
Yes,
the incident,
God.
and for maintaining a
Seeing
calm,
some good ones out
collected,
there.
and
Some good
professional
ones out
attitude
there. Mm-hmm.
throughout the interaction. Although it cannot be proven with any degree of certainty, I suspect that Sergeant
Well, my
Polidor
uncle
was
would've handed-
highly involved in the Orangeburg
On the
department's
scene,
decision
my
to
uncle would've
fire and
handed him
charge
his
Mr.
ass just
Dukes.
for lying
And the
about the
testimony that
business
she
cards.
offered in her incident report likely played a vital role in making certain that he was held accountable for his actions. Officers who witness acts of misconduct are often placed in a position where they must consider whether reporting that misconduct is worth the potential damage to their career that could arise from pursuing accountability for the actions of their colleagues. And it is all too common to see members of law enforcement justify the actions of their peers in any way they can to avoid facing the repercussions of speaking out against them. This notion was on full display in this very interaction when Sergeant Meyer fist bumped Mr. Dukes for inappropriate use of force without knowing any of the details beyond what Mr. Dukes had told him. I commend Sergeant Polidor for having the courage and conviction
That's
to hold
right.
Mr. Dukes accountable for his actions, and I sincerely hope that her actions inspire other officers who witness misconduct to come
Me
forward
too.
and do the same within their department. As for Mr. Gaillard and Mr. Julian, I cannot rightfully issue a grade to individuals whose actions were purely dictated by the conduct of the officers on the scene. Nothing
get
the pair
A
did was
plus
uncivil,
pluses.
and the two obeyed all the commands of the officers to the best of their ability.
Because they
without
did,
knowing the
especially even
context
when
of
he
the
asked him for
encounter.
his card,
It
he ain't
could
had no
certainly be
attitude,
argued that
he ain't had
both Mr.
nothing.
Gaillard
You got a card
and
on
Mr.
you,
Julian
like-
were both victims of police misconduct.
victims.
One by way of physical violence, and the other by an attempt to avoid accountability. It should be noted that Mr. Julian made a legitimate effort to gather then Officer Dukes' personnel information, presumably in an effort to file a complaint against him. And I commend him for sensing that Mr. Dukes' actions were unlawful and doing what he could to hold him accountable. Let us know if there is an interaction or
Yep.
legal topic you would like us to
That
discuss
was
in the
fucked
comments
up,
below.
man. He just smooth lied, bro. Like, how you just lied, my nigga, like with a straight face. Sir, you know damn well, for one, the man didn't have his hands in his pocket, and for two, the body cam footage was gonna come out eventually. Come on now. You put yourself, you dug a deeper hole by fucking lying. Fuck out my goddamn face, man. See, this that bullshit, dog. Anyway, it's officially August 23rd. It's officially the date that my books, I had to burp, excuse me. Rewind. It's officially August 23rd. It's officially that the book, Lord, I Am Sleepy. Rewind. I'm not taking that out, just so y'all know. I'm not taking that out. It's August 23rd, okay? It is officially the day that my books go on pre-sale on social media. Y'all been had them, so y'all got early release. But they about to get put on social media as if somebody gonna buy a book at 12 o'clock at night. It don't matter. I'm posting it. So just want to put it out there. It's Virgo season. Until the next time. Bye.
Girl, you gave me your soul.